What is going on, freedom fighters? Welcome back to another Break the Chains Media here on Tyranny Response Tuesday. Did I say that backwards? Maybe. You'll never know. Today is Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026. Living in the most wild and insane timeline. The most absolutely incredible. I just don't know where to begin, folks. I had to take a day off yesterday because I needed to really digest how exactly to approach this just absolute incredible, the bombshell, the news stories. I don't know where to begin, right? Because, and this is the biggest thing, this is the biggest struggle that I have. Hold on, let me, second to the biggest struggle of getting the lighting right. There, the lighting's better now. Many different issues, but folks, let's be honest, let's be real. And let me know in the chat, whether you're on Rumble, whether you're on YouTube. I appreciate everyone watching me on X, but I can't really see the chat on X. Either way, how long have you yourself been invested, or how deep down the rabbit hole have you gone when it comes to the Epstein information, the globalists, the powers that be, the power structure, these groups of people that control the world, right? And right now, conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000 because for many, many years, I myself, along with my other activist groups and my other friends who have really helped expose this with me, we're all vindicated to a degree, and I don't want to be vindicated. I don't want to be right. I'm not here saying I told you so, but there is a deep-rooted, satanic, demonic, bloodletting, loosh, energy transfer, occult, bodily fluids, all of these evil, satanic, demonic things. Anything that you could ever possibly imagine in the realm of evil, Eyes Wide Shut type stuff, Bohemian Grove type stuff, the sacrifice of young innocent individuals to siphon energy to extract their innocence. Like, this is the level of evil that we're dealing with. And the Epstein files, even the millions of files that have been taken out, and millions of which we're going to get into that in a little bit. That's a whole nother strange angle. The fact that millions of files have been released by the DOJ, and a lot of this stuff is literally just Epstein's, CP, or Epstein's interactions and communications with other evil individuals. However, that's a whole nother conversation. The bigger conversation I'm trying to say is Epstein. The conversation about Epstein just scratches the surface to the level of debauchery and degenerate evil. Like, there's not even, like, evil doesn't even encapsulate the level of disgusting behavior that this is just opening the door to. These people in control, the people in power, not just in modern day, but for hundreds, if not thousands of years. This is an old world practice, a very long, drawn-out, old world practice of the powers, the control caste, the ones who control society versus the plebeians and the none the wiser, the sheep of the nation, of the world, right? Like, this has been a long, drawn-out thing for hundreds of years in humanity, and we are just now seeing the institutionalized version of this. And the real question is what now? What really comes out of this now? Are we going to see people be held to justice? Are we going to see, and the real question is this: does the public displays of justice even stop the practice that's being had? The practice is still going on, right? Just because it's being uncovered doesn't mean there aren't groups of people that are still doing this, because this is their religion. This is how they live. This is their entire Their entire power structure is built on this occult, demonic sacrifice, blood rituals, all of these things. And they've been doing it for a very long time, and they believe that the more they do it, the more they remain in power. The more they remain in power, the more they can control you, whether through psychological operations, financial institutions, market manipulations, you name it. That's how they do it. They siphon, and not only that, the energy, what's the word do I even say? Our psychic energy, our divine essence of a being. If we spend our entire energy process, right? We're going to get into all this, folks. Super Bowl, we're like occult rituals, Grammys, all of these different psychological operations or these psyops, right? Everything that we see, right? We're going to get into all this, but it all ties together, folks. Everything is connected. And when I say everything, I mean everything. When we talk about the global pandemic that we went through, the financial crisis in 2008, the private Federal Reserve, Davos, World Economic Forum, bioengineered meats, poisoning our skies and food and water supply, all of this is connected to what's being discussed now, seeing unfold with the Epstein files release. There is a larger thing happening. There is a larger play happening, and we are going to get into all of that here on Break the Chains Media. So I appreciate everyone hanging out. I see you all in Rumble. I see you all on YouTube. Thank you. Say hello in the chat. Smash that thumbs up button. Be a part of the Chain Gang. Be a part of the Chain Breakers here on Break the Chains Media. I am going to talk about a couple Colorado issues too. I know there's a lot going on, and this is why I'm kind of like, I don't want to say space brained, but I want to think like, what is the conversation to be had, right? What is the position to take forward? What is our forward position in this information war? How do we respond to the enemy's tactics? How do we respond to the new intel that we've gathered? How do we process? How do we proceed moving forward into 2026, into the midterms, into election cycles, into the whole election fraud conversation? That's a whole nother angle. You talk about Somali fraud. You talk about election fraud. You talk about global positioning of military assets, whether it's in Venezuela or Iran or in the Pacific Theater. There are so many different angles, and I do believe to a degree that we cannot forget the fact that the Epstein files release and the conversation being had on across the social media platforms right now is to a degree still a distraction. It is still red meat being thrown out to the base to keep us occupied with a pretty little object right in front of us. Oh my gosh, right? We got all this stuff. We got all these things. Everything that we've been asking for just got delivered to us in our laps. Is this really what we asked for? That's something we're going to get into today on the live stream. So thank you all for being here. Let's get into it. Let's run through the plugs, and we're going to go right to it. Hang out with breakthechains.media. That is the website. Come over here. You can find some of the older links, some of my other socials. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, your preference and choice here on breakthechains.media. Top right corner, Realm Walker Hot Sauce. This is how this right here. Hold on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something I haven't done before. Let's make it happen, okay? Folks, if you want to support Break the Chains Media, if you want to support my endeavor, if you want to support my efforts, this right here is how you support me. Realm Walker Hot Sauce. Travel the 9 realms of Norse mythology through hot sauce. Handmade, hand-bottled, homemade hot sauce in the Mile High State of Colorado. We got a bunch of different flavors. Niflheim, Midgard, some of the milder ones. You got some hot ones down here. Ragnarok, one of my hottest, one of my most excellent flavors. Smoked chocolate super hot peppers, apocalypse peppers, and green chilies. It's smoky, it's spicy, and everyone that's ever tasted it said that they cannot get enough of it. They want another bottle as soon as they pick up their first. Come support Break the Chains Media. Come support Realm Walker Hot Sauce. Follow Realm Walker Hot Sauce on Instagram. message us. Come grab yourselves a bottle. Start with the greener, milder flavors. Or if you're feeling bold, get the red Muspelheim, which is red super hot peppers and roasted red peppers. Or the hottest that I have currently, Ragnarok. That is the smoked, spicy, excellent flavored hot sauce. So come support Realm Walker Hot Sauce. Follow us and send us a DM. Appreciate you doing that. And then lastly, do we have it? Do I have it? Where is it? Actually, let's go over here because I'm a silly guy. I don't have it pulled up yet. I've been doing so much other stuff that I forget. Yes, but either way, here we are. We're doing it. We're doing it in real time. Okay. See. There we go. There we go. I still got it, folks. Rev up them chainsaws. Be a part of Break the Chains Media. Help us out. Support Chainsaw Caucus. Support Break the Chains Media. We are cutting through bureaucracy, bloat, corruption, fraud, waste, and abuse. Fielding honest, real candidates who support limited government, inspired by the Javier Milei Afuera movement. Be a part of Chainsaw Caucus, the 527 PAC, nationally recognized. And with your... In the description of this video, right below us, you got that tiny link. You can click over there. $10 a month helps out Chainsaw Caucus. And you can click on my affiliate link down below and let them know that you watched it and you found it out here. But check it out. Chainsaw Caucus is a pretty awesome group. I definitely believe that we need to reinstitutionalize honest, real politicians. And the Chainsaw Caucus makes sure that that happens. So appreciate you hanging out with us here. But let's get into it without further ado. Folks, wow. Some crazy stuff. I'm just gonna go right into it because this is really it, right? This is really what we're dealing with, what we're talking about here. And the evil, the corruption, and the fact that for so long, the fact that everything that the conspiracy theorists were saying, everything that conspiracy theorists have been saying for the better part of 2 decades, whether it's the Bohemian Grove conversation, the Eyes Wide Shut masquerade parties, right? The praising of Moloch statues, the praising to the god Baal. When we're talking about abortion, we're talking about so many different things as conspiracy theorists, right? And we always get thrown under the bus because we're the conspiracy theorists. We're the crazy guy with the tinfoil hats, speaking all kinds of lunatic things, right? Folks, when we're talking about Pizzagate, right? Is that something that YouTube's going to get me banned on? Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to watch my words because I am streaming on YouTube, but we talk about CP. We talk about these inner workings of these elites, these backdoor parties, these secret, compromised events that allow politicians, lobbyists, political figures, and influential celebrities, right? This is how they establish their blackmail operation. And the whole Comet Pizza with John Podesta and the connection with so many various individuals. These conversations have been going on for a very long time. Conspiracy theorists all were poo-poo. They are all thrown out with the trash because it's too crazy to think about that there is a dark, occult, blood magic, demonic group of individuals that have been operating behind the shadows to manipulate and control the world in their positions of power. That right there is the crux of the problem. And the Epstein files merely scratch the surface to the deeper rooted corruption and evil that has been going on in the upper rings of the elite establishment for the better part of our entire human civilization. It's just now with the expose, with the power of the internet, with the power of mainstream accessibility to information at the tip of our fingers, we've been allowed to dive into this corrupt and evil world, to understand that there is a network, whether it's through finance, whether it's through favors or deals. Very long time, these people have been working together, been networked together. And when they were talking about back in the day with the Comet Pizza scandal and John Podesta and his emails, okay, and the verbiage and the wording, let's take a listen to this video. It's a 16-minute video posted by the Skiff, but let's just touch the surface. Let's just dive in.
What we haven't discussed about the emails is that so many of them reference one place. That being...
Oh, excuse me. Are you good? Are you okay? What's... Okay. I don't understand why Twitter does this. Like, I'm having, like, it literally just froze up on me. So that's super cool. Are you okay? Is this all frozen? No, not all frozen. It's not all frozen. But thanks for hanging out through these technical difficulties. Let's keep going. See if it actually is going to play this time.
Comet Ping Pong. Comet Ping Pong is a pizza place that has ping pong, and at the surface is no more than that. It's in Washington, D.C., and is run by a fellow who I refuse to call a man named James Alefantis. Ostensibly, Alefantis is a local pizza shop owner, as well as an art gallery owner and founder of several other restaurants. But for most, that's the pinnacle of James Alefantis in this story. He owned the shop that was unfortunately the scene of a ridiculous conspiracy theory, which is how everyone sounds to me when they use that term. But what we get out of this is that everyone should feel really bad for this Alefantis guy and look no further. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is nowhere near where the story begins or ends for James Alefantis. The more astute might notice some things that are off about him. Firstly, for a pizza shop owner, he has some incredibly powerful friends. Viewing his Instagram, we find photos of personal letters from Hillary Clinton, photos from campaign rallies, photos of Obama playing ping pong with a child, presumably taken by Alefantis, followed by a series of images which show Alefantis and Podesta, including one where Alefantis is holding a pizza pool floaty with, oh yeah, of all things, a creepy silhouette of a female behind the two of them. But that is simply the beginning. This allegedly humble pizza shop owner has an Instagram full of depraved crap. I'm going to warn you, there is an archive of it online, if you can find it, from before James privated it in the days after the scandal erupted, and on there you will find literal graphic images.
Wow. Like
actual on his Instagram, as well as people engaged in various sexual acts on pizza or utilizing pizza. His Instagram also then contains weird, creepy, and in some cases downright disturbing photos of children, like the one of Obama playing ping pong with a child in the White House while people watch in what looks like some weird basement. But far more questionable is the photo of a little girl James alleges to be his niece, with the top half of her sprawled out on top of a ping pong table that he has taped her hands to. Mind you, this girl, her face is blurred, but she's no more than 5 years old, if that. And I'm not sure how anyone can defend that as harmless play.
So we're gonna like move past this, but this is a 16-minute video. Let's see if I can actually, because we're talking about some long-rooted, deep stuff, and this is just some of the behavior that they've tied in from ancient traditions from long ago in human history, and now it's been modernized, and it's been covered up, and it's been operated behind the shadows, and these elitists, these people in power, positions of power, are always networked, and they're always tied with it, okay? We'll read this last little paragraph from the Skiff. This is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. They have been literally telling you and showing you who they really are right to your face, and now it's time to start paying attention and to do something about it. There are no coincidences. And that's essentially that's one of the main things that I'm trying to explain here, is that some of the things that these corrupt individuals do is they put things in plain sight because they have to They have to cycle. This is their belief. This is what they believe. They believe that they have to put the information subtly and subversively into the public ethos, into the public arena, whether it's through movies, whether it's through music, whether it's through pop culture, various different degrees of this exposing and putting their intentions in plain sight, i.e., the Super Bowl halftime show, where millions, hundreds of millions of people every year watch this ritualistic style, this ritualistic like presentation unfold that has a lot of symbolism, that has a lot of occult, demonic, Luciferian parallels. Okay, and it's all a part of this very strange, the strange belief system that these individuals that participate in this occult practice have to do, because this is part of their religion, right? This is what they believe, not me. I'm just saying that through their structured internal belief system, this is how they have to operate, and they put this all in plain sight. Let's listen to this. This is Tony Podesta, but they use pizza as a cover. They use different words and different language as a cover, and we're just scratching the surface here. Let's see if it plays. I guess we'll see if it plays, right? Let me know in the chat if you guys agree, what you guys think. But I know that I'm not off my rocker when I associate, when I tell you all that this is their MO. This is how they believe. I guess we're just not going to worry about that, because it's
Hearing once more seems like, in a very long way, we have a
sure.
circle of familiar faces and names forming, and it's a circle I certainly believe is worth looking more into, although undoubtedly the more you look, the more you will find that the circle continues to expand. But as for Alefantis, you don't even have to look that hard to know this guy's up to no good. He posts image of selling children on his Instagram, so if that doesn't warrant an investigation, nothing will. Back to the pizza place itself though, Comet Ping Pong, it should serve as no surprise that the weirdness is not kept merely to the confines of Alefantis Instagram. There are all sorts of things wrong with this joint. Normally I don't get too much into symbology because it's often full of schizo posting, unless it's just dead obvious, but in this case it really is, and there's too much at play, especially considering the FBI released all the PDF file imagery we need to start making connections, and showed us that even shapes which share similarity to the ones they gave can be related. So I'll go rapid fire for this as best I can. The menus in Comet Ping Pong show 2 ping pong paddles, and initially this is nothing to be concerned with in and of itself, but upon a second glance, they heavily resemble the child lover image from the FBI to be on the lookout for, or to be on the lookout for anything related or similar. But that's by far the least disturbing and incriminating thing here. The murals of Comet Ping Pong rival Tony Podesta's art for weirdness, depicting adults, most of whom are wearing no clothes, parading children and or the heads of children around, along with bizarre creatures enclosed in an embrace in the background. Not sure how you're supposed to play ping pong looking at that, but I will add that one of these humanoids appears to be wearing a crown. Make of that power dynamic what you shall. The bathrooms are also littered in pornographic graffiti, which was either a stylistic choice from Alefantis, and he had it created this way, or he just left it up because he liked it. The musical acts that Comet Pizza advertises for and hosts at
so more and more things are connecting, more and more things are being put together. This is just one part of it. We got more to go into, folks. More, because that's just one little aspect of it, okay? Because we have other stuff here where we're discussing the actual network. This is actually different in its entirety, but I've got some files pulled up here, folks. A lot of different names have been named. Okay, Reid Hoffman, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. Alan Dershowitz. You name it. I mean, there's millions of people associated, which is why you can actually go to. Let me just actually stop recording because I don't need to keep recording that. This is actually the website. You can go to justice.gov/Epstein/search, and you can actually literally search for anything, okay? You type in a key phrase here, and you can show up, like, for example, let's just check this out here. So you could type in what we were just discussing, okay? And it shows up keywords here, whether it's, pizza, all this. This is all through, and this is some of their phrasing and terminology, right? You got grocery lists, but Roman pizza. But yeah, if you wanted to, you could literally go through this entire website on your own. But what I wanted to actually do was I wanted to bring up the fact that, where is it at here? Now you got some election stuff, but where was? Is that more election stuff? Yeah. Yeah. So I'll pull this up here because this is actually great. This is actually pretty fun. I want to make it absolutely clear, folks. I was not involved in any way with Jeffrey Epstein and have never been to the island or Zorro Ranch. I've just known about the elites, evil occult, blood magic, sex cult, bohemian grove stuff for so long. It makes me tired. It wears me out. The fact that I've been saying this for so long, and not just me. Millions of people across the world have been trying to bring up and discuss these particular things. And you have to take a step. It's very hard to take it all in. You literally have to I always relate it to drinking out of a fire hose, but folks, this is this is like trying to spoon like liquid hot magma with a plastic spoon. Okay, this is the hottest, most dangerous, and deep, dark, secretive stuff, right? And the truth will set us free. The truth will set us free. And I just kind of want to shift gears into larger conversations, right? Because why are we discussing this? Why is the internet? Why is the world? Sorry, it's in my hand. I just had to drink it. Why is the world so wrapped up in the Epstein files, right? Because we want evil people to be held accountable, right? We want to see these people strung up by their toenails and held accountable for the crimes that they've committed against not just humanity but the world and the entire elitist establishment that's been manipulating our way of life for far too long. We're all sick of it, okay? And if someone isn't just to maybe a different degree than me, maybe not as fed up as me, but there are many different levels of being pissed off by the system, whether it's I can't afford groceries, or I can't afford to start a family, or I can't start a business, or this state's corrupt, or these laws are unconstitutional, right? I am that guy. Okay? I am that guy that is fed up with all of these things. And you should be too. But to what degree does that all these things that we just listed off, to what degree do those things have relations to the larger turning, right? Think of it as different cogs, different wheels of gears turning together. A smaller wheel, a larger one, and an even bigger one, right? Several different wheels are spinning together, okay? And we're only seeing smaller fractions of the larger whole, of the larger evil that's churning forward, right? And these elitists, these evil people that have been in control for so long, that's manipulated markets, that's changed borders, that's spread democracy, the backdoor corruption, whether it's through the CIA, through the Five Eyes intelligence communities, through the FBI, through branches of government, okay, across the world, or corporate institutions, and the surveillance state, the data centers, and the invasion of our privacy through social media, the emergence of AI technology, right? Everything is happening right now. The unaffordability of being able to produce and generate your own food supply, right? Everything's tied together. And the fact that Jeffrey Epstein was not only involved in the movement of children and movement of small individuals to an island to exploit and blackmail, right? That is the very top level of his network, right? The fact that Jeffrey Epstein was not just connected to that, but ties to the CIA, an office at Harvard. He had his permanent office at Harvard, ties to the CIA, ties to global leaders, prime ministers, politicians, presidents. He was the networker. He was the coordinator. He was the orchestrator of all these ties together, working with Bill Gates and formulating what appears to be some sort of discussion regarding a pandemic in 2017. What was that about? Okay, Dr. Fauci was also coming out to the public speaking of a global pandemic that this president will have yet to face, right? Jeffrey Epstein was talking about that with Bill Gates behind closed doors in these emails, okay? Jeffrey Epstein was also talking about building a cloning farm, building cloning farms, and trying to procreate and have his seed last generations. Very weird, strange stuff. He also had conversations and investigations regarding time travel and the fabric of space-time. What is that about? What is that about? Did he have connections to CERN? Maybe we could pull that up. Who knows? But the fact is that this network is so vast and so expansive. How is it out of the question to think that hypothetically Jeffrey Epstein may not have actually Epsteined himself? Right? Is it that out of the question now that you see what's the extent of his network was? The extent of the communications that Jeffrey Epstein had? Is it not out of the question to think that maybe he's actually not what people claim that he is, right? Maybe he actually was whisked away in the dead of night before any news broke. But change. That sounds crazy. That sounds like a crazy talk. That sounds crazy. Nothing's as it seems, and everything's connected. Exhibit A. Okay? Exhibit A. Smash that thumbs up button. Share this video. Let's get some people in the chat. Let's get some people in the stream. Let's get some new followers. Let's build this community up. Be a chain breaker with me, right? Let's dive in. From Heather C. This post blew up. She got 16.5 million views on this post. But this is damning. Okay? Let's read into this. Epstein files. This is huge. The individual who anonymously posted on a 4chan the morning of Epstein's death, August 10th, 2019, claiming he witnessed weird happenings at the prison before Epstein's death has even been identified in the Epstein files. Robert Grijalva, an officer at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York, has been identified as the anonymous prison employee who posted on 4chan claiming that Epstein left his cell Friday evening shackled in a medical wheelchair, while at the same time an unauthorized trip van arrived at the prison, which he believes took Epstein away the night before news broke of his death. The day after Epstein's death, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman of the SDNY opened a grand jury proceeding and subpoenaed 4chan, Apple, AT&T, and Citibank for records aiming to uncover Grijalva's identity following anonymous 4chan post. Grijalva's name is not redacted on his bank records, including the SDI subpoena office from Citibank as 4chan ties with the same prison office. Roberto Grijalva's statements that were released at the part of the prison's investigation in Epstein's death. This is huge. We now have validation the 4chan post from 8/10/2019 is a legitimate eyewitness account from the Metropolitan Correctional Center prison officer that Epstein may have been switched out before news broke of his alleged death. Okay? This is from the 4chan post, okay? Not saying anything after this, please don't try to dox me, but last night after 0400 count, they took him medical in a wheelchair, cuffed, but one triage nurse said they spoke to him. Next thing we know, he's on a trip van shows up. We do not release on the weekends unless judge orders it. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and unalives himself. Here's the thing. Trip van did not sign in, and we do not have a record of a plate number. The guy in a green dress, military outfit, was the back of a van, according to Tower Guy, who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out. Why is it out of the question? Is it out of the question to believe this? Okay? Same thing. This is from the records. Confirmation. Okay? On Friday, August 9th at approximately 1:50 p.m., an ISOS Gravalva passed on to oncoming staff member Officer Davis, President Shift staff, that inmate's raise was going and AB possible may not return. Also that inmate Epstein will be needing a cellmate upon arrival of his attorney visit. Folks, this is kind of mind-blowing, okay? Let me actually look this up here because I wanted to yeah. I saw this. I always get mixed up whether I saw it here on Twitter or I saw it on Instagram. But I'm trying to find the picture here. Let me find it here. Let me see if I can find it. What is going on? What is going on? This right here. Let's check it out. Yeah. All right. What are your thoughts, folks? I know we've seen this photo before. I know we've seen this. I know we've discussed this. But in light of new information, how do we feel about this video? How do we feel about this photo? Right? This was taken on the image on the right shows the profile shot of the individual who they took out of the SDNY after his alleged passing, and the whole autopsy report of him snapping his hyoid bone and doing a somersault, backflip off a bunk bed to unalive himself. But just on the profile alone raises questions. Obviously, it's different lighting. Obviously, it's different, maybe some age. But what do we think, folks? What do we think? Is that something that we can have a conversation about? Maybe think about the larger picture of things. Okay. Here's another one. Here's another one. And then you think about the fact that Epstein was in conversation and trying to build a human clones, trying to gestate human clones, and working with the most pronounced and top officials in the world of genetics, of bioweapons, of biolabs, of science, technology, space-time, you name it. He had connections everywhere. Is it not out of the question to postulate that there may have been a potential swap out? Okay. It's just crazy to think about. It's crazy to postulate. But the fact that there's other things within these reports, okay? We've got the conversation about Reid Hoffman's emails to Jeffrey Epstein revealed, the LinkedIn guy, Reid Hoffman, social media, Uh, I have this whole article. Do we really need to go over this? I don't want to keep talking about the same shit. I don't want to talk about the same shit over and over again, right? Because you've heard about Reid Hoffman being in the files. You heard about Elon Musk begging to be on the island or never went or this, that, and the other. But case in point, the who's who, even Joe Rogan apparently was allegedly in the files, right? We can just actually look it up right now, right? We can look up literally, if we wanted to, I bet you we could find it. Okay. Let's actually look up Joe Rogan, right? Yeah. I mean, but, it talks about, yeah. This is, I mean, a lot of it's just like news articles, right? This is a Joe Rogan. Is this a Joe Rogan? Is she wearing push-up bra, skirt? Like, some of these things I don't want to click on because I don't know the extent of what is actually behind the link that I click. Maybe we do that in the uncensored portion. We can dive into the pages of the Epstein files in the uncensored portion, unchained portion, as it was on Break the Chains Media. Come over to Rumble Premium. Join Rumble Premium for $10 a month. And you can come see the Unchained portion of my live stream. I think everyone here is probably already a member, but the more you know, right? Rita Hoffman, not really worried about that. It is. Let me move this over here because you just got things got to get cleaned up, right? Let's see here. Before we go over to the Rumble Premium, I do want to hit on a couple other things because election integrity is the fight, folks. Election integrity is the fight. That is what we need to be doing. Some of my posts just discussing the consistent state of things, right? And this, like I said, it all ties together because if we don't have honest elections in this country, we can't have our voice be heard effectively. If we don't have honest elections in this country, we end up getting people that are involved in these nefarious actions. We get people involved that are a part of this elitist ring in our elected offices, right? This is how it all works. They all have this network together, right? And in order to get these people in positions of power, you got to have elections that work in your favor, right? You've got to have money that's funded through various groups, various organizations that allow these people to win elected office through the donations, through the cycling system, through the revolving door of corruption, right? You get financial institutions backing the people who are a part of the club, the big club, right? And those people get in positions of power through the manipulated election process. And then those people in positions of power pass legislation to further limit our rights, to further limit our freedoms, to further subjugate us as the subjects, as the sheeple, or as the cattle, or as the various other names and pejoratives used to call the lesser individuals of the world, right? This is how you get it. This is how it happens. But it starts with the election, right? And I do think that there are larger gears turning. Like I said earlier, there's larger gears turning and shifting and operating a larger scale of movement. 250-year anniversary of America. This year, July 4th, 2026. 250 years. Do you think that might have a cosmic importance? Do you think there might be something more? 250 years. Just think about that. But from the skiff, President Trump's legal team exposing 2020 election fraud. Let's check it out. President Trump's legal team is exposing the 2020 election fraud at the Georgia State Farm Arena, pulling suitcases full of alleged fraudulent ballots from under tables after the election center was shut down, running the same stacks of ballots over and over and over all throughout the night until Biden was ahead, stealing the election from President Trump. This is exactly why the FBI raided the election center today in Fulton County, Georgia, and it's only the beginning. Prosecutions are coming. This is posted from the Skiff, and Donald Trump re-truthed it on Truth Social, okay? And when I truly believe that election rigging retribution is coming. Georgia, then Arizona, then Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Colorado, California, Illinois, you name it. Every single state that the DOJ is suing right now for unredacted voter rolls should get the exact same treatment as Fulton County, Georgia did. Come in, grab the evidence, grab the intel, get the voter rolls, prove the fraud, prove the corruption, prove the election interference, prosecute the people and those involved in various different states, call a national emergency on election integrity, call a national emergency on our election process, nationalize the election system, because these states have been operating antithetical to the federal government. These blue states, these corrupt institutions, these corrupt Secretary of States are operating against the federal government by weaponizing the election process in the states to then control the state's power and control the election outcomes. The federal government needs to nationalize the federal government needs to nationalize the election process to take the power back, because these states have proven that they are manipulating and controlling the election outcomes, and this cannot stand. We might actually see some turmoil come midterms. Maybe, and I know Trump jokes about this. I know Trump tosses this around, but he claims, we might have to suspend the midterms. Folks, if we find out rampant election fraud is happening in 20 plus states across the country, do you think that we should continue to operate the elections no problem, same as normal? That's the real question. The SAVE Act needs to be passed. The filibuster needs to be nuked so the SAVE Act can be passed so it can become law. And if the SAVE Act passes, that is one aspect to a larger aspect of the election integrity conversation, right? There is more than just the SAVE Act that needs to happen to stop the election rigging. However, it's a great step forward. But if the federal government finds in multiple different states that there has been election interference and there's been election rigging and election fraud happening on various different degrees, why have a midterm? Or what kind of midterm are we expecting if we're showing and there's evidence without a refutable, without any shadow of a doubt? What's going to happen in these midterms coming up, folks? That's the real question. So, election integrity is a huge component, right? The raid of Fulton County, Georgia is just the beginning. Maduro is singing like a songbird, exactly as expected. 22 states are being sued by the DOJ for unredacted voter data. They will all get the Fulton County treatment if they do not comply. Election integrity is the fight. Yeah, folks. Obviously, some of my biggest things that I talk about are corruption, election integrity, how the votes have been manipulated, how the votes have been operated and corrupted. Understanding that the Epstein files and the Epstein debacle, Dan Bongino. Here's another thought. Here's another thing that's super interesting, right? The day that Dan Bongino comes back is the weekend before. The weekend before the Dan. Wow. Can I fucking say it? Can I say it? The weekend before Dan Bongino returns to the podcasting world is the same weekend that 3 million Epstein files are released. Do you think that that's a coincidence? Or do you think that's calculated? What do you think in the comments? You let me know in the live chat. You let me know. Is that just a coincidence or is that calculated? The fact that Dan Bongino is no longer part of the FBI, but coincidentally, it's the same weekend that 3 million Epstein files were released by the DOJ. That's interesting, right? Very interesting indeed. Yes, and this here, folks, you got to check out my page on X, right? Go follow me on X. I post all this great stuff. The fact that Dominion voting machines are now proven to remotely connect, and foreigners are working on these machines are incredible, right? From the Rocky Mountain Voice, Wall Street Ape shared this. Absolutely incredible. But follow me on X to read that post. I do think because I don't want to get in trouble by the overlords on YouTube or wherever else have you, and I kind of just want to have a little bit more freedom of thought and freedom of stream of consciousness. We are going to be moving over to the Rumble Premium part of this stream. So if you are on Rumble, hang tight. We're going to jump over to Rumble Premium. If you're not on Rumble Premium, if you're on X or if you're on YouTube right now, go swing over to Rumble. Get a part of the Rumble Premium. Be part of the Unchained section of Break the Chains Media. You get all the other content creators. You get exclusive content. You'll see a lot of great things that not everyone else gets to see. So jump over to Rumble Premium, and we're gonna get into. We're gonna be pulling up all kinds of stuff when it comes to, like, I am gonna be punching in, and we're gonna be looking through some of this Epstein file stuff on the back end in the Unchained portion of this Rumble Premium video. Oh yeah, talks about, yeah, we'll get into that. Very painful memories talking about Melinda Gates, Bill Gates, but yes, without further ado, we're heading over to Rumble Premium. I will see you on the other side. Fight for freedom and never give up.